Joe, for coming. A few questions. Briefly, can you define, in your own words, what art means to you?
Oh, art. I mean, anybody can produce a piece of art these days, I think, because contemporary art it can be something that somebody's made three-dimensional, it could be two-dimensional, it could be something like, I don't know, a toilet, or a pile of bricks, that's what contemporary art is nowadays. And to be honest with you, I think it's bullshit. I think the way that art has gone, I think it's gone downhill. I don't think there's room for that kind of art anymore. I think anything to do with ceramics or painting, if you fine arts, that kind of stuff, then I respect that, But anything that's just like, well, this is like I said, this is a toilet, what have you.
Do you think art is elitist?
It depends which art you're looking at. I mean, from my perspective, being a painter, right, I think if you're good at painting and you can do it well, I don't think there's any need to be like, this is quite an interesting question actually, because like, we can use Photoshop now, we can use cameras, we've got that technology that they didn't have in the 1800s, 1800s, where they had to paint realistic painting. But you still get in China these days, you still get these artists who want to paint realistic, and it's like, well, you may as well just use a camera and take a photograph, So I think, I think if you can paint well, you can show it off. But I prefer things like impressionism. I like fast work. I like someone who can capture something really quickly. And I think that makes it more elite than someone who spends a whole year, doing every little intricate detail.
So, when did art? Can you think back when art became important to you? You were good at drawing when you were very young, or did it come later on? In other words, when you think about your art and the things you've achieved so far, when did it really kick in? Was it from the beginning, or did it come later?
I was talking about this just yesterday. And I used to enter competitions in the newspaper, the Bolton Evening News, and there were colouring competitions, and they give you a picture. Yeah, you remember?
Yeah, I remember this.
And you colour it in, and then you cut it out, put it in an envelope, send it off, and then I used to win a lot of prizes. And I don't know if you remember this. There used to be a toy called the Big Track, and you could program it, and it can go like around the corners and stuff like that. And then we put cakes and stuff like that, send it to the bedroom for my grandmother, and I was like, and the picture that I painted was what would life be like on the moon,
Yeah.
So I remember drawing all these domes and tubes where people travel through the tubes to different domes and things like that, and that's when I kind of, and I was always, well. My parents used to argue quite a lot when I was younger. They got divorced, obviously, in the end. So it was kind of a distraction thing for me. So I used to sit on the floor and I used to draw. And the strange thing is, I was like I said, I was talking about this yesterday. I used to draw things upside down and then turn them over. All right. Well, you know that like when light goes into your eye. Yeah. We actually see things that upside down, but it's our brain that turns it the right way up. So I think that's what was going on when I must have been about 3 to 4 years old. That's why I was drawing things upside down. So that's when I got into drawing. A lot of copying, cartoon characters, things like that, But I've never enjoyed Disney. Apart from Toy Story. I like the recent stuff, but when I was younger, I was more Warner Brothers, Tom and Jerry. I used to love Tom and Jerry, things like that, so I'd copy that. And
yeah, Bugs Bunny.
Bugs Bunny, yeah, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I used to enjoy those comics, which were far more.
So when can you think where it suddenly decided? Is it recent? Is it because since coming to China you've had the time to do it, or like myself, when I've come to China, I view things completely different now to what I used to do. Being in a different culture,
Right.
I view things completely different.
Right.
You have more time to do things like you've never done before.
You've got a lot more freedom.
Yeah.
Than you.
You think the freedom
have.
is the one, the 9 to 5?
Well, at the moment, like I said, I'm doing the 8 hours a week, but I'm doing something I enjoy. I'm teaching art, so I'm still involved in art, even though I'm not doing art for myself, my own self-purpose. I've got 3 collections. I've got a collection of art, which is like kind of fine art. I've got my Legends collection, which was for, people that have died. With so many people died last year.
Got to keep up.
Yeah, really. I think, am I cursed? Is it me that's painting the dead people? And then the last one I painted was Prince.
Yeah.
That was the last one I painted. I said, well, that's it. I'm not doing any more.
No.
I did Bowie. Yeah.
Yeah, he went.
Yeah. Well, I like Johnny. I used to love Johnny Cash anyway, so I did Johnny Cash. So that was my first portrait, and I've never done portraits before. So I got on with that, But coming from Bolton, right, near Manchester, right, yeah. Now we all remember. You must remember Matchstick Men and Matchstick Cats and Dogs, Lowry, LS Lowry, right.
He used to paint factory workers, just
that's
normal
it.
people.
Just normal everyday people, on all the factories, and he never used a palette like Van Gogh would use a palette. Van Gogh would use a palette of yellow ochres and deep blues and things like that. But because he's from the north, everything was grey, and I found that myself when I was like at college there. All my paintings, everything was grey and dull and dismal and rainy, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, I was going to move on to that question actually, because obviously moving to China,
But it was India. It was India.
India was the change.
India was the change for me. Yeah, when I went to India, that's when I discovered colour.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say.
Because I noticed going through, which I'll go through in a minute, but I did notice we went down so far as everything is in greys and blues. Cubism, I noticed, where you do the masking, cubist.
Oh, the dances, everything is broken up in dances.
That's right.
Which is a lyric from a song from The Doors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Jim Morrison's one of your. So I noticed that. So it's your pictures tend to be of blacks, greys, cubism type things, and then suddenly you got to Freddie Mercury, and then John Lennon and Ziggy, and then you suddenly swapped to colour. So what was the idea behind that? Why are Kurt Cobain, Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix all in that type of style, and then suddenly Freddie Mercury, Jim Morrison, colour?
Oh right, okay.
Yeah. So in the Legend collection, particularly, especially Amy
Winehouse.
She's
blue.
in blue.
Yeah.
And
Kurt Cobain's in purple and yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any reason for those colours, or it's just
because I saw Nirvana in Bristol back in the days.
Back in the day,
yeah.
Bloody hell,
I saw that in 1988, 1989, something like that. Yeah. And I remember the T-shirt. The T-shirt was purple and yellow. I remember that, so that's where the colour came from for that. And I kind of with the Amy Winehouse, there is an actual painting in the London Museum of Portraits, the gallery there, and there's an Amy Winehouse blue. Right now, I didn't know about this painting, right, and I did my painting. So I painted it in blue, and I just like the colour of the lips and the blue as well. Like it kind of works. And then I went on the internet and I typed in Amy Winehouse, and all of a sudden this picture came up, this painting of Amy Winehouse blue. And to be honest with you, it was rubbish compared to mine.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, mine should be hanging there. Not this. One thing that I've been a lot more interested in recently is kind of. I've been looking at paintings like 25,000 years ago. You know, in cave paintings in France and things like that. You know, and they, you know, they used to spray around the hands to do handprints on the walls, or I mean, everything was about capturing things that are living, things that they hunt.
Yeah.
You know, it could be a deer. So for them, it's kind of like, it's kind of a diary.
It's like just early graffiti type thing. Isn't it?
Exactly, it's graffiti. The Romans did it. The Romans did it all the time.
Legends collection. We've already discussed that. These are people who have passed on. Kurt Cobain. Are these people the music you like, or is it just?
That's what it's about. I mean, you mentioned Jim Morrison. Now, the thing about Jim Morrison, like, they used to take a lot of LSD, you know what I mean? And that's what the eyes are like this, because that's what he sees. That's how he perceives things. Well, he's depressed. Like I said, manic depression before runs through all art. I mean, a lot of artists, they die when they're young, and like musicians. What's the saying? You know, live fast, die young. I mean, all the people in my pictures, you'll notice, if you look at them all, Johnny Cash, he was just taking all kinds of things when he was younger.
Quite a turbulent, you know, he didn't know prison
his
himself.
whole life was like, his whole life was up and down, you know.
Jimi Hendrix, reds and pinks.
I just think about the lighting at the time, because when you're on stage, you know, you will get lots of different colours. When, like I said, when you go to Glastonbury and you watch a band like the Chemical Brothers or something like that, you know, and you've got so much, you know, Fatboy Slim, for instance, you know, you've got all these different colours, and the lighting's fantastic. You know, it's not about, with Jimi Hendrix, it's not about the colour of his skin or anything like that, it's just about the lighting. And I just remember seeing a photograph of him, and it was just like red, and it was just like a really nice picture, like, so I just thought, oh, that'll do.
Especially the progressions you put up, and you've got the bit, and then you're building up.
Well, the reds are the hardest to use. The reds and the pinks are the hardest. The reds, pinks, purples, they're the hardest to use, because I start with a black canvas. I always start with black, dark first, which is kind of opposite. Most people start with white first, work light to dark, where I work from dark to light. So it's kind of like the reds, trying to get the reds to do it on the blacks. You have to do like 2 or 3 layers. You know, and you've got to get the brush strokes in the right way. You can't mishmash. You can't.
Because
mess around
the black
with it.
Soaks the colour, doesn't it?
Exactly.
The dominance is you're looking at the background, not the actual colour.
So it takes several layers just to get one solid block of red.
Because I've seen you using, like we talked about cubism, I've seen you using the tape. Why use tape? Why not just paint by hand? Is there a reason? Is it for the sharpness, or is it you just enjoy using tape?
No, it's I like because it's cubism. Well, I'm really into like Russian futurism, and cubism as well. But I've never seen anyone use masking tape apart from graffiti artists. They use it a lot. So I kind of just like, especially with the everything is closed, everything is broken up and dances selection. For me, you know, I had to get every little bit. So what I do, my process is to get a photograph, and I run it through Photoshop, and then I change a little bit, add some filters. And then once I'm happy with that image, then I'll print that image out, right? Then that's what I'm going to use. You don't need a computer to create that image. I've used the computer to do it, but I want to do what a computer can do. You know what I mean? So it's like, for me, it's kind of a battle of wits. It's like, right, if you can print, if the computer can do it, the Photoshop can do it, then I can do it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of going back to what I was just saying before about, like, before they had computers to be able to create images and stuff like that, they might use a pinhole camera. There's one artist, I think Rubens, I think, he used to have a pinhole camera. So what he'd do, he'd get the pinhole camera, and he'd get a canvas, And his room would be like a pinhole camera, so he's standing inside a pinhole camera, and he's got whatever is on the outside reflecting through, and then he just copy it and paint on the wall. Well, it's a similar process.
Yeah.
I mean, my painting, there's one painting that I did, what's quite popular, is the Swan Lake. And then there's one with the ribbons, when they do the ribbon dance. Yeah. So I really like that. I saw a show when they were doing this, so that's why I thought, well, that would be really good painting, because there's so many colours already. You know, you don't need to like change it too much. But it was nice to kind of break it up, you know, and just. I mean, you can see visually. I mean, if you see the real painting. It's definitely so difficult to like go online and just see a a small picture. If you saw the real thing, it's just like it's pretty big. It's like 180 centimeters by it's almost as tall as me, you know. And when you see the real thing, you see a lot more detail. You know, there's a lot more detail in there.
I've seen the Troupe de Ballet and the Swan Lake, and also the one I personally liked was the flamenco.
Oh right, yeah.
With that, because the flamenco
with the Spanish dancing.
That's right.
I've got another flamenco one as well.
I
haven't done it yet. That's another one still in there. Well, I know I've got it. It's printed out. Everything's printed out first.
Yeah.
Like I said, everything's produced on Photoshop.
Yeah.
Then once it's done, then I print it out. Then I use that print, and then so I've got so many more prints.
Landscapes, Snowdonia. Explain the use of colour for Snowdonia.
Right.
Now I remember this one online. I remember seeing this one when you were doing this one.
Right. Now it has to be somewhere I've been.
Yeah.
It has to be somewhere that I've camped, and I used to take my hammock. So that journey was, excuse my language, amazing. It was just me, right, and my hammock and a tarpaulin, and I'm a little stove and all this, and so I'm on my way up, and it was all about the journey of meeting people, coming down as well.
Yeah.
You know, and stopping and chatting. I met people from Denmark, from like all over Scandinavia. You know, some Polish guy, and it took me so long to get up there because I was too busy stopping chatting. You know, I could talk people to death. I could talk a glass eye to sleep. You know, and eventually I got to a spot and I said, okay, this is where there's no trees. I've got my hammock. Where can I put my hammock? So I found this spot with a couple of rocks, So I put my hammock like in between the rocks, and I got my tarp and put my tarp over. And it was a really beautiful spot, and I could see people camping down below in tents.
Yeah.
And that was by the lake, but it was too far down to be bothered going down and then having to come back up. So I saw it from a totally different viewpoint. The whole experience for me was like the morning, you know. And then I've been up there in winter time, So for me, it was the colours was like I just remember. The evening. When I got to my spot, everything just went orange as the sun's going down. Everything just went orange for just a brief while, and then as soon as the sun starts to set behind the mountains, you can see the shadow coming. You know, like blood. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen. What's that movie with the rabbit? So it's kind of that, you know, for me, like when I was watching
Watership Down.
Watership Down, that's it, Watership Down, yeah. That was something that kind of reminded me in that picture, was when I saw like it was like blood or the orange coming across the land, and you could see the sheep and everything, and you know, it's like so many seagulls, too many seagulls, but it was, you know, just brought back the memories of Watership Down. And the other one with the snow was when I went up there when I was back in the UK, like 2002, about 2002, 2003. We went up on a winter hike. You know, we didn't get to the top of Snowdon. We just went into the countryside there, because I mean, Snowdonia itself is just, you know, it's a beautiful place to be.